Hey there, Wisconsin Wine Guy. I'm back with another wine review. As you can see, I'm sipping on my cocktail that I made earlier. I should say I'm finishing my cocktail. That's fantastic, but that's not why we're here. I'm here to give you a review because I discovered or realized that while I'm making this cocktail and drinking it, I forgot to give you a review of the Ruffino Prosecco. So, without further ado, here's the review. I just did a rhyme, huh? So now, for those who are new, these are wines that you can find on the shelves of your everyday liquor store, grocery store, and some wine shops. All right, and I do a taste of these wines, give you my opinion, what I think of these wines, utilizing my infamous thumb rating system. Thumbs up means I recommend this wine. 3/4 says that, I had this at a party, or if I were drinking at a party and I'm digging it, I would share it with my friends. Halfway says, there's something about this wine that's just not working with my palate. Doesn't mean it won't work for yours. You give it a taste, let us all know. Thumbs down, well, that's always an easy one, right? So now, let's get to the review. So, Ruffino Prosecco. Now, let's talk about it. It's a DOC wine, meaning that, it's designated, so it comes from a region. Designation means it comes from a region, and this particular region is called the Valdobbiadene. Valdobbiadene. All right, the region. And the grapes, Prosecco, and the actual name of the grape, Glera, is used interchangeably. So you hear the name Prosecco, it refers to the grape. You hear the name Glera, refers to Prosecco, which is also the grapes, is all the same. But most importantly, Prosecco is what we all know, is what we all going to remember. So Ruffino is coming in at 11% alcohol on this one here, right? DOC sparkling wine, product of Italy. And maybe you had Ruffino, maybe you haven't. I think I may have reviewed this in the past. This is going to be non-vintage. So it's a non-vintage, meaning that a vintage wasn't declared. It's made from grapes, accumulation of grapes, probably of still wine. So let's do this. Sparkling wine is first made into still wine, then made into sparkling wine. All right, there we go. So the still comes for still wine tanks, and then they go through the process to produce wine. This is made in what's called the Charmat method, meaning that it is made in a tank. So it's not made in a bottle, it's made in bulk inside of a tank. Doesn't make it inferior. It can still be a pretty good wine. All right, so there you go. Enough of that. All right, there's my fizz. I like this, this top here. It's that time of year when I get to use all of my sparkling wine savors. So now let's get this poured in a glass. Now, you don't have to drink sparkling wine in a flute. You don't have to drink sparkling wine in a wine glass. You can break it down and drink it in a martini glass, like I'm doing here. So it really depends on what your mood is. You can use this in a regular, shaped cup. But with the sparkling wine glasses, or some people call it champagne glasses, it's the bubbles, the effervescence of the bubbles. You get little tiny pins of bubbles. You can kind of see that. Little tiny pins of bubbles in the glass, just slowly floating up, to the rim of the glass. And it's always a fun thing to see. You can see that in the flute. In a wine glass, you can see it, but it's not as fun. The thinner the flute, the more those tiny bubbles, isn't it a song? Tiny bubbles are going to just float up to the glass. It'll be a lot of fun. So let's give us a nose. Oh, wow. I mean, it's like apple, citrus, the nose. Now, with sparkling wines, I don't usually shake the glass, because we have this nice flute, and, with those bubbles, when the bubbles reach the surface, they pop. So they come to the surface and they pop. So it's releasing, the aroma, the aromatics of the wine as it floats. Let's give it a taste. I'm not going to even rinse this. I'm just going to taste it twice instead of rinsing, all right? Now, here are the two things that are most important to me when it comes to sparkling wine. One, how much bubbles are in the wine. Are they going to be rough bubbles? Or is it going to be a mousse, meaning like foamy? Is it going to be like kind of right in between? Have a lightness to it. Acidity is also important. Also, it must taste of fruit. Okay? For me, that hits on all levels for this Ruffino Prosecco. Wow, nice apple notes, nice acidity, just a fine yeasty notes in the background. I mean, it's very pleasant, very easy to drink. Ruffino Prosecco. I'm going to go with the 3/4 on this one. I've had other Proseccos. This is nice. This is a nice everyday drinking Prosecco. You can't go wrong with it. It'll make good mimosas, all of that. It'll be great. In fact, it was great for my cocktail, right? So Ruffino Prosecco, non-vintage, 3/4. Give it a try. Let us know what you think. And I'm going to get back to making more of these cocktails. And we're almost at the end of the year. Only a few days left. And it will be New Year's 2022. So, with that, I'm going to do it with my cocktail. The Wisconsin Wine Guy says, as always, let your palate be the guide for selecting your wines. And I look forward to showing you more wines in upcoming days, upcoming years. Ciao!